everybody, and I am absolutely delighted to have with me some blue blood royalty here from the Relocation Agent Network, Mr. Nick Thring of Duncan Yeardley. How are you, sir?
I'm very well indeed. Good morning, Simon. Thank you for having me on.
No, delighted to hear about it. Obviously, we have to say sister organisation to Kerfuffle, but we're still here doing our bit in terms of understanding exactly what some of the very best agents get out of their partners in the industry. And I think it's, let's set the scene here. You've got two incredibly strong offices down in Bracknell and Ascot, two wonderful markets down there as well.
Indeed. Yep, we have.
Award-winning agent. It goes without saying. Obviously, you know how I gravitate towards those shiny trophies and everything else.
Likewise, yeah, all our glistening glassware in the office.
Exactly. You need an industrial supply of Mr. Sheen to keep them going. But anyway,
we employ a person now to do
it. So let's just go right from the top. Obviously, for those people who don't know, Relocation Agent Network, or latterly as it was Home Sale network of independent agents working around the UK to facilitate, obviously, referrals and the community spirit and everything else there. Now, you've been a member for as long as I remember. Do you actually remember the year you joined, or?
Well, so Duncan Yeardley, we joined back in 2000 and late part 2017. But yeah, my previous firm, we were members of Home Sale Network. So I've been involved with the network as such since, dare I say, 1995. So yeah, been a great believer really in everything that it's kind of stood for. And when we had the opportunity, a local agent here who was on our network in the Berkshire area, changed hands, so they parted company. So when we had the opportunity to come on board in Bracknell, yeah, we grabbed it with both hands.
And what do you remember what it was originally that attracted you to it? Was it that
what back in when we were Home Sale, or so back then it was a number of things really. It was definitely the exclusivity, being the hand-picked agent, independent, and having the best of both worlds really. So those independent beliefs and everything that we stood for there, but just having that wider reach and that ability there to be able to pitch in people's living rooms as the benefits of being part of a larger network of like-minded independent agents. And also at that point, a lot of the corporate business that we were able to tap into as well was very important. So it worked well for us. We did very well. We were award winners twice at that point. And we've sort of picked up the mantle really as we took over here from Duncan Yeardley.
That's amazing. And you mentioned corporates there. My understanding is a lot of the members have used this to neutralize the corporate pitch. Obviously, the corporates walk in with hundreds of offices there. Is that something you actively have used yourselves to neutralize that angle?
Definitely. And there's no question that our guys have found that a huge benefit, because we found that a number of our rivals were very much using that against us. We're a strong independent in our patch, particularly we were, before we had round back in 2017, 18. And yeah, we had 2 or 3 agents that were going up against us. Well, they don't have access to the same amount of buyers. They don't have the same reach as we do. So yeah, we can very easily now overcome that with everything that we stand for, as I say, in terms of being independent, but also actually more meaningful with the reach that we do have with the associated agents, our sister agents, rather than just all being under the same roof. We've got some great collateral that we've put together now, and over time, our guys, we've worked with them to polish their pitch and just make sure that we're getting it across in the right manner.
I think that's a really important point, isn't it? You get in what you take out, and obviously,
absolutely.
As we've taken over, actually, we've been identifying why do some people have, these enormous pipelines and their single offices and then larger ones there. And it's really that kind of, you need to get engaged with this. And I think in this, what I find interesting is I can't see a time that actually a network like RAN, it's so important, because in this increasingly digital age, to have that, that more personal touch and that those local connections is increasingly important.
I think it's very important. I think what we found, the benefits of actually who we work with nearby. So if you like our regional, partners now, and we've built up some really good relationships with them, actually helping each other out, particularly at valuation stage. We've got someone that's moving 5, 10, 15 miles down the road that they can help out with their search. But as you say, it's kind of that wider reach as well that we do have. But I think it's incredibly important. And our guys, when we first did it, we had a handful of our team that were very familiar with RAN because of previous companies, they'd had it. That everyone basically bought into it. We found it just was not a hard sell. Everyone got it, and I think that attributed to a lot of our success in the early days. So yeah, wasn't the greatest year from our point of view to win it because unfortunately there was no glitz, but we won Agent of the Year in 2020. So we'd only been a RAN member for just over a full year, but we really got behind it, hit our referral league, did everything that we needed to do in order to get that, and that gave the guys an even bigger boost as well.
Well, I can feel your pain. As a Liverpool fan, we won the league for the first time in 30 years, and I didn't get to go and see it. So, yeah, I do feel that. But I think that what's
slightly different now.
Yeah. What's really interesting there, though, Nick, is actually as well, it shows that there's a perception that it's the same old names, and there's it runs in its 30th year, as you'll well know, this year. But actually, those businesses that can join up can hit the floor running if they go at it in the right way.
Absolutely, and yeah, we are, I believe, a really good example of that because you say, totally from a cold start, we built it up in what was a reasonably buoyant market, but certainly pre-COVID market. So we had still had our challenges and all the rest of it, but yeah, if you get behind it, there's it's the opportunity there, and I don't see it necessarily as a massive sort of moneymaker. We make some great revenue from it; it more than pays for itself. But I think it's the other bits that we get from it, as I say, in terms of what it does, the positives it does for our profile, the fact that it's something else that the guys have got in their tool bag when they're going out and they're pitching, yeah, what we actually get from it, as you say, you're right. You get out what you put in.
It's a genuine USP, though, isn't it? Like,
absolutely.
My old world and in prop tech world, obviously, there's a lot of suppliers that will say, "Well, look, this is a USP," but actually, anyone in your local competition can go out and get that and kind of neutralize it. But this one, to be able to say, actually, no, we have been just defined by the high standards of that network to be the only one, is quite an easy one for anyone to understand, isn't it? If you can communicate.
Very. Yeah, it is. Yep, totally.
And I think that's the thing. Let's be honest. I think the revenue opportunities, obviously, maybe it's not the money spinner that financial services or clearly conveyancing can be, but it is one of those ones out of area referrals that you can't monetize any other way, is it? So it's an interesting one if you can do it right.
Definitely. I think if you do it right, and it doesn't take long as with all these things, once you get a few there and you start to build that pipeline and they trickle through. And I was, with the guys as well, it's an easy hit. Yeah, you qualify. If you do a good job in the first place, you qualify that referral, you get it over to the agent. That's your job done, really. It's then down to them to sort of pick up the baton and go from there. Obviously, we keep in touch with them and do what we can to nurture that lead and make sure that we're doing what we can to sort of reinforce it, if you like. But otherwise, to be then able to be paid on it 3 months, 6 months down the line for just passing over a lead, pretty good going.
It's nice, isn't it? And let's look, we'll come back to the other aspect, but in terms of just from that, it's always been known as the referral network, the network that actually pays. A lot of other networks have struggled to get that same thing working. How does that how does it work for you? Is it that every member of the team has to be kind of aware to the opportunities, or what I've seen is there seems to be a split between those companies that get every team member and then those that almost have kind of super RAN members? How do you work it in your own business?
So yeah, we've played around with it a little bit actually, and I think again, hopefully we've kind of got it right now. So everyone is very much behind it. So we get everyone trained up, and both internally, but also obviously through RAN as well, to get their accreditation. And as part of their induction, it all forms part of it. So the sales guys are obviously the ones that we do focus on mainly, but all the lettings team, etc., and everyone behind the teams. We do our quarterly awards. That's all involved. We give everyone a monthly update on where we are with the RAN and so on. But what we have got in our business is we've got the wonderful Mandy, who's our RAN champion. She basically just takes the lead on it. She manages all of the leads inbound and outbound. She goes through our data on repick just to make sure that we haven't missed out on any opportunities. And that works brilliant. So she's completely behind it, absolutely loves it. She's always been one of our top referrers. And I think to have that dedicated person within your business that's looking after it from that side has worked incredibly well for us.
That's really interesting, isn't it? To almost have that speciality and that niche, and it gives the. I mean, you only have to see whether it's at the regionals or you see people at the awards and the conferences. There genuinely is that community aspect, and that was going to be my next
Definitely.
question, actually. Is obviously it helps because the members are non-competing, so you can really share and be honest and share them. Whether that's at the regional, obviously you're one of our fantastic AC members as well. How important is that aspect, the kind of community aspect there for you taking part, other than the financials, which we've just touched on?
Genuinely, it's massive for me. So I think, I was often, from probably when I took over Duncan Yeardley 2012 through to 15, 16, a bit of a lone ranger, really, kind of did my thing. You're in touch with various people. But then when I had the opportunity, one, to join around, and then quickly after become part of the advisory council, the value that I get out of that, meeting with people, sharing ideas, some great names, great businesses, as that have been part of it for a long time. So there's that side of it. That's, as I say, helped massively. But also the regional meetings that we're now getting back on track with post-COVID, and to be able to meet up, as I said earlier, with those partners that we have got locally, and to be able to discuss what's going on our doorstep, share ideas. Are there ways that we can improve things in terms of referrals, and also just the other bits that RAN bring to the table, really, in terms of industry partners and so on. Learning more about those, and we're all busy. It's trying to in a bit to set those sort of 2-3 hours aside once a quarter just to be able to do that. I find incredibly valuable.
That's such useful feedback, and thank you. And I think one of the things, because it's taken a while, hasn't it? I think it's taken a while for everybody, although we've been out of lockdown now for ages, for people to get back into the habits again and rebuild those.
Definitely.
Something else. And I think, we had 30 people down at the Southwest area there, obviously there, which is the Southwest Regional, which is fantastic to see that kind of coming together. So that really excites me that that's picking up, and again, and I think that has an increased benefit. You mentioned there as well the supplier partners. I think one of the things, obviously, we've been engaged in my previous guys at Repit, and I think talking to the previous ones, that they always said that partners were important, the supplier partners there, but they'd always been a bit conservative. Now, clearly, it's a balancing act, because you never want to appear anything to be a half sell. But do you find that kind of advice with the partners then useful? It sounds like, from what you were saying, that is something.
Yeah, we do, and I guess, as with all these things, you kind of pick and choose. But I think the fact there that there's that added value, if you like, to some of the exclusive deals that RAN are able to bring forward, definitely helps. And dare I say, maybe, well, particularly, I think in that COVID time for us, and I think we got a huge amount out of RAN there, and I think they were absolutely brilliant in terms of how they supported their agents, whether it be through webinars and, the support, etc., with a lot of the partner agents. But yeah, we've got some great suppliers that we work with now, both with, obviously with you, Kerfuffle, but through also with RAN, and those exclusive deals that, we know we wouldn't be able to get if we just picked up the phone to them. So, again, another added value.
That's great. And I mean, you're absolutely right. I think it was, obviously, just be really clear, this isn't me trying to hold on to the coattails of the previous guys, but it was actually in that lockdown period, from memory, that the Relocation Agent Network got Supplier of the Year at EA Masters. Obviously a tremendous
They did, didn't they? Yeah, good point. Yeah, I'd forgotten that. But yeah, and rightly so, because I think they did an awful lot throughout that period, actually, to really help and support the agents.
I make a big deal about it to anyone that will actually listen, but I think there's a lot of suppliers. Obviously, there's almost 1,000 suppliers on Kerfuffle at the moment. Some of those are fantastic.
Goodness me.
The number that, yeah, no, it's scary even to a train spotter, like,
isn't it?
But I think what I love, about it is that group that actually fit in well. Actually, yes, we're a supplier, but more importantly, we're a partner to the business. It's always felt to me that is where the networks fit in, and there's some very good other networks out there. That has to be their position, doesn't it? They have to be in your corner rather than just taking your dollar each month.
Definitely, and I can honestly say with RAN, that's what it does feel like. As with all these things, we review each year. Are we getting value out of this? Is that something now that's no longer relevant or has become stale? Is there a better option out there? And I can honestly say with RAN, I do feel, as you say, that there is that relationship there, that they are looking after us, and I do feel for what we pay subscription wise, and then, as I say, what we can get out of it, both the added value bits plus the referrals, it more than pays for itself.
I was going to say this was going to be the most awkward conversation ever if you'd have said, and I've been reviewing with Spend.
And I'm not sure if you're aware, Simon, but we actually gave notice last month. Yeah.
Too soon, too soon. Don't say that. I'm not ready for that.
No, not at all. As I say, it's yeah, great from our point of view. Yeah, you know, we again, what you get out of it.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that obviously your team do use it heavily in kind of the everyday valuation pitches. So just to reiterate, that feels like that's a bit of a secret. I've heard it referred to as a secret sauce element of that weave itself into valuations. Then, so you mentioned, what do? You put it into brochures. It's obviously I can see
we've got a combination. Yeah, so various. You know, so the guys, you know, use it in their you know their actual pitch, if you like. And again, it's not relevant to everyone and the situation, so you know, people pick and choose obviously as to how they do use it, but we make sure that that's a big part of what they do, as you say, to that USP more than anything. But yeah, we've got it in our all our company collateral. Yeah, so it's a brochures, website. We've had it on our email banners. We before we go down to meet people, we TV in the cards, so we got those, we dropped those down there. Rand's mentioned in there as well. We've worked on some testimonials in the past as well, video testimonials, written testimonials. So yeah, all sorts of different things we'll try. But I think it's just mainly trying to pick out, isn't it, those opportunities that are relevant, who you're talking to, and you know, depending on what their wants and needs are and their experiences they've had before, is what the benefits can be of being part of RAN.
And that feeling, then, I suppose, that obviously they've let's say they've had 3 pitches, might be many more, but obviously that element will stand out in their mind. You know, let's say if it's a close call. I mean, I'm not saying you'll win pitches just because of RAN, but as a different, that's nice, isn't it? It's just nice.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a follow-on question? One thing, obviously, we're looking at recruiting new members and growing that out, and we know that the RAN members outperform on, you know, average agents, because we see all the stats day in, day out and everything else there. What we often see though, when we're trying to get people who haven't, you know, been members of RAN before, is they're like, and obviously we're only targeting the best, and they'll say, look, we have fantastic market share already, we're a great agent, why do we need, you know, something like RAN? How would you respond to that? Is it a fee defender? Is it just you can always have more market share? What do you think is the, what do you think?
Yeah, I find this, I wouldn't necessarily look at it like that. I mean, again, we had strong market share at the time, particularly in Bracknell. Our Ascot office is a new one, but that's really been to digress slightly, but you know, that's been a huge benefit for us, because particularly in that area, we've been going up against a lot of the big names, you know, international names that people will go to have the kudos of having that board out the front and so on. So again, to be able to talk about RAN and the London buyers and so on there as well. But in Bracknell, where we are very much, you know, one of the market leaders, it was just another string to our bow. You know, so again, as I said earlier, to be able to overcome that objection where a couple of our leading rivals were going in, who are larger than us, to be able to overcome that. We are, very protective over our fees, you know, and it's definitely helped, as I say, to kind of back that up, that the value that we can give to the client, this is what we do. So, yeah, I think it more, as I say, more than again pays for itself.
And clearly you're a fan from the top level there, but you mentioned before already there. So the team what do the team get out of it? They're fully kind of invested in it, whether it's via the awards or the rewards. I mean, let me ask you that, and you can be really, really honest. When they get obviously like Amazon vouchers and things like that. Does that matter? Is it a nice?
It really does, actually. You know, often when I'm in the office, it's I just got my Amazon voucher through. So it does. I think it's that instant gratification. You know, they get that bit. They love that. So that definitely works. We incentivize them separately. So you know, we have throughout the quarter an award there for the RAN referrals, and they have the opportunity to come on our fun day out. But also the other bits that we do is incentivizing them financially. So if they do get a RAN lead that goes through, then they can earn a minimum of 10% of that fee as well. So we put the money into the pot, but the actual referrer also gets that, and that's got everyone to buy into it as well.
That's lovely, isn't it? I mean, that's tying obviously what you're trying to the aims of the firm actually with the financial bonuses as well on that. And I mean, let's be really honest, in a time of, cost of living crisis for everybody out there, that ability to just like the business can, to be able to monetize that in it and increase their own revenue from something that and it really is, it's, that there are out of area referral opportunities every single month in that, in your case, the Repeat database. If you
Indeed.
just book those, you can make that money, can't you?
Definitely. Yep.
Okay, cool. Look, absolutely fantastic to hear that's obviously that it's working so well for you. So what would you say to somebody who was like thinking, well, two things. What would you say to somebody who was thinking about becoming a member of RAN, for other agents of RAN? What advice can you give to those guys coming on board? What would you suggest to those guys that are thinking about?
So I think firstly, you've got the opportunity to come on board with RAN. I would, genuinely go for it. I appreciate as with all these things, as you said, there are other options out there, and it may not be for them. But you've got to get it set up properly. You've got to get your team fully behind it, take advantage of the training, etc., that RAN do to get all the guys accredited. Everyone's got to fully understand, what it's about. And I think if you do that from day dot, then it will more than pay dividends. So, and also just make sure that you are supplying your team with the appropriate information and collateral to be able to go out there and sort of back it up, because some people are going to be stronger than others as to how they actually convey the benefits of RAN. And I think, just to have something there actually to back it up with. But again, same for members who are currently part of RAN. As we can see throughout the referral leagues, as you say, there's always those stronger contenders that are doing more outbound and so on. But I would certainly recommend having someone, depending on the size of the business, maybe more, but certainly someone in there that's dedicated to looking after RAN, that can make sure that you are sweeping through those referrals, looking at your inbound leads that are coming in, etc. And again, no different as you would do on your own patch, fighting for valuations and making sure you're getting through the doors. You've now got, as I say, that addition where you can people out of area, offer them the opportunity for evaluation as well, and get a cut of the fee without having to do the legwork.
What's not to like? And
easy peasy.
yeah, you're always in the theory. And I guess from what you're saying there, though, so Adam's your account manager, isn't it? So
yes, Adam's been great.
How do you find that side of things? Having that kind of that hand holding when you need it and everything else is a useful thing to have, is it?
Genuinely really good, actually. Yeah, Adam's always available there at the end of the phone, email. Also, a big mention to Louise as well, who's been great, and help us with referrals. But that's it. There's some really good support there within RAN. So if there, is a lead there that we haven't been able to find the suitable agent, they're always able, it seems, to be able to place that, which is fantastic. But as far as Adam's concerned, he's always keeping us up to date as well. He's a great believer with the regional meetings, getting those set up for the bits that we said, and getting the value out of that. But is that side of it's gone very well since you guys got your hands on it.
Perfect. Well, good. Again, otherwise that would have got really awkward.
Exactly.
And obviously, I'm a shameless review site here. We want to know. I know you're a tough grader. How would you rate RAN out of 5 in terms of as a partner for you?
Genuinely 5, and I mean top 5. It's I get a lot out of it personally, and I think what we've got out of it business wise, then and I think just the direction that RAN's going in now, I think that's the other thing. That's a really important thing to mention. I think everything that you guys are putting in place in order to drive this forward, as with many things, is not what it was back in the heyday of home sale, but I genuinely feel we're heading back in that direction. If we get the right partner agents on there who are all behind it, then I think it really has got an exciting future, and we're already beginning to see the start of that.
That's great to hear. That's what I owe you a drink. Obviously, that's the first.
That goes without saying. Thank you.
Okay, Nick, thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us and your
pleasure. Thank you. Hopefully it's been helpful. But anything else, and also, if you have got guys out there that are thinking of joining, etc., always very happy to have a chat with them and just give them a bit more insight, either myself or my colleague Mandy. More than happy to.
That's brilliant. You know what? That's the thing I absolutely love. You know, you can talk about the community thing and everything else, and you know how many businesses you get frustrated about where they say the clients come first and they're the least customer centric. The thing I absolutely have always loved about Ran is pick up the phone to me. So many of them say, you know, and
Yeah,
will give you a really honest advice about it. And I think that's such a nice thing to be able to do.
I'm more than happy to.
I'd love to think that we were going to really piss you off now and you get loads and loads of phone calls, but we'll try and keep it down.
All right. Well, we'll go from there. All right. That's brilliant. Thanks, Simon. Good to catch up with you, and have a good day. See you soon.
See you soon. Bye.
All right. Cheers. Bye.